Okay. That sounds good. Let's do that. And then we'll chant the pranams and then we'll start. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
We'll be discussing Bhakti. I get a little more volume. I just a little bit more, please. So, the Bhagavan dasa is the prime yoga text which we studied from. So, Krishna consciousness and I want to speak about a particular verse. So, chapter 6 says,
Sorry, 47. I'll pull it up on the screen here too. Oh. Oops. There we go. I'll chant the Sanskrit. Yoginam, chapter 6, text 47. Yoginam api sarvesham Adgatinantaratmana Shadhavan Bhajate Yomam Same Yuktatamo Mataha. Krishna says here, so before leading up to this verse, Krishna is explaining dhyana yoga, which is the yoga of meditation. Like meditation, of course, bhakti yoga is meditation, but meditation particularly on using the body, sitting in a particular place, focusing the mind in a particular breath, and rising one's energy, etc., certain ways. So that's the process of dhyana yoga, which is basically like the mystic system, attaining perfection or yoga by mechanical means, through the body and mind. So bhakti yoga is yoga of devotion. So Krishna is going to explain here. So he explained this path of meditation yoga, and Arjuna, who is the student in this conversation, is having some doubts that my mind is very turbulent. My mind is very strong. It's going here. It's going there. And to practice these yogas, what you're saying is very difficult, it seems to me. Even though at that time in his culture it was more widely understood of how to practice these, particularly these different types of practices of yoga meditation. So Krishna says, of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental, loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So I'll read maybe just the first paragraph here. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshiping in a respectable manner a demigod and may be called discourteous, but one cannot avoid serving the Supreme without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution, etc., etc. So, this is cool. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the Supreme Evil Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. So, the Vedas explain that the self is Jivara Subhahoy Krishna Nityadas. The who we are in essence is a part of the whole, and we're meant to serve the whole, just like the body has parts. The body is made up of parts. Then the whole is, you characterize the whole as the body, but you have like the head part, you have the leg part, you have the, it's okay. You have the hand part, the tongue part, etc., all these parts of the body. So we are part of the whole, part of the Supreme, and we're meant to be connected with the Supreme. That is the process of yoga, to connect. So Bhagavad Gita is the prime spiritual text which we study in Bhakti Yoga. It is the text of Bhakti, the philosophy of the self, from the perspective of Bhakti Yoga. And there's, of course, various great thinkers in today's society who have studied Bhagavad Gita and appreciate its even scholastic, contribution to spiritual topics, like Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, etc., like on the back. Einstein had a quote that we see online, Robert Oppenheimer, etc. So other types of yoga. So this is a yogi here doing meditation. And ultimately, yoga is to realize the Supreme Being, Krishna. This is Radha and Krishna, the absolute truth, the manifestation, the personification of the absolute truth in essence. So this process of yoga is to connect with with the Supreme, and even this type of dhyana yoga, that is the method. And so, so Krishna instructs in various, times to perform a particular yoga to achieve the Supreme. So for today, that is explained as the chanting of the Mahamantra, as given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the last incarnation of Krishna, who came around 550 years ago in Bengal. And he was actually amongst great learned scholars in spiritual science. And at that time in Bengal, it was Navadvip, which is the place of the site of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was like a mecca of great learned persons, great scholastic, highly advanced scholars studying the Vedas there, various Vedic scriptures. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu grew up in that scene, and he actually became the most learned personality, even at a young age. His name was Nimai at the time. He outsmarted the greatest scholar of the time, Digvijay Pandit, who is called Digvijay. It's a title. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has, as an incarnation of Krishna, has enacted the process of Sankirtan as the means to attain perfection or attain yoga practice. So that is the chanting of the Mahamantra, congregational chanting, coming together and chanting. Of course, within that, there's many other branches of Sankirtan, but the foundation is chanting of the names of Krishna, like we just did, particularly the Mahamantra. And we see that by chanting, one naturally elevates one's consciousness. The consciousness becomes cleansed, so much so that one gives up all material activity, even, or material desires, or at least, for some, they might give up all material desires very quickly. Some may have some time, but the cleansing process is happening, and one can experience the great effects of it, especially if one practices this bhakti yoga under the guidance of a guru, or the sadhus, or the saintly persons. So Krishna is saying, of all these yogas, like this guy, bhakti yoga is the best. So this is depicting even of bhakti, because this type of meditation is meant to focus on Krishna in the heart. Bhakti yoga. So there's various processes, practices in bhakti yoga. One of them is deity worship, which we do here. It's a way to personally serve the Supreme by serving an authorized form of the Supreme. So the deities that we have in this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, they're installed in a certain way. They're given service in a certain way that is all in accordance to what is in various scriptures of the Vedas, how to do it and how to perform worship. So we offer food, we offer different elements like incense, flowers, etc., etc. So this is one of the processes of bhakti yoga. So we see here a devotee hugging the deity. This might even be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Looks like this person is using instruments, huh? Is that an instrument? Huh? Yeah, it might be. So this is, it looks like, because he's blind. So this, we have Krishna here on the left, and we have a sadhu. I don't exactly know who it is. But that's what we're doing. This chanting is actually Krishna, the Supreme Being, is actually becoming attentive to our chanting, attentive to us as we're chanting his names. So this is a process of bhakti, which is actually you find this in all religious scriptures to chant the holy name of God, right? That is, I don't know all the quotes, but it's actually a very important aspect of their scripture. Whereas this is Sankirtan coming together. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the right in the front, and Nityananda. So we actually have them as deity forms over there on the altar as well. So these people are coming together and loudly chanting together the Maha Mantra. And by doing so, one's heart becomes so much cleansed by this process of Sankirtan that all misgivings in the heart, and we'll talk about all those, vanish in time. We'll explain those. This japa, or personal practice, chanting, meditation on beads, is one of the main foundational processes of Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so here we have the Bhakti Lata. So what I want to convey tonight is that Bhakti Yoga is a complete science. It's not just a sentimental, theoretical, belief system, but it's actually extremely scientific. And we can go through it, but the message I'm conveying tonight as a science is that how detailed it is in the various steps on the path to attain. So there's 9 stages of Bhakti Yoga. And so we'll discuss those stages as we have time tonight. In this diagram, this wonderful picture. So all the way down we have the heart, or the consciousness, as the seed. The analogy is a plant. So you start with the seed, right? Then you water the seed and roots grow, and now the plant starts to grow after some time. So we have the heart down there, that's the foundation. Then you have the plant, and all the way at the top is the supreme goal of life. Prema Pamartha Mahan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that the supreme goal is to attain this love for Krishna, love for the Supreme, which means love for everybody else as well, eternal love for God. So this is a diagram which is all found in a particular text called the Madhurya Kandambini by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of the great acharyas, one of the great teachers of spiritual science. All right, so let's go through this, huh? Yeah, it's a really cool diagram. So in the beginning, the seed is there. We all have the seed of bhakti within us, but the first stage in spiritual life is faith. Actually, to do anything in this world, faith is a preliminary requisite of knowledge. Because without faith, without some belief or trust that you will achieve some understanding in something, then you won't actually get it. It's just like if I say, it's like if I say that the sun or the sky is blue, somebody can say the sky is blue. Let's say I haven't seen it though. I haven't seen the sky yet. I can say, okay, well, if I have some faith in that, then I will think, okay, let me see that. I'll look at the sky and see that's a bad example. Let's say that somebody, this analogy. So that analogy is there too. I'm having a hard time finding one analogy for this. I'll just make the point, the philosophical point. So, let's say in science, right? To do an experiment, there has to be some faith or belief that we can achieve some conclusion from it. Just like I'll say that mixing hydrogen and oxygen together is going to form water. So I wouldn't even do the experiment if I didn't have some belief or some faith that some conclusion will be made from it, some knowledge will be gained, right? Otherwise, why actually do it? Why pursue it? So that's the point. So faith is there, And even to have faith in our own perception of receiving knowledge. We have so much day-to-day practical faith, right? We have faith that what I see is actually true. It's actually seen. I'm seeing properly. I'm hearing properly. So we're gaining knowledge throughout our day and understanding by what we see, what we hear, what we smell, etc. So we have a faith that these instruments we have are actually working properly, right? So to even acquire knowledge through our sight, ears, then we have to have some faith. Okay, it's actually working nicely. So anyway, some faith is required with spiritual life. You can say it's even more necessary because we're dealing with things which are beyond in one sense, beyond our perception of sight, seeing, hearing, tasting. It's beyond the senses that we have from this body and mind also. So something which is spiritual is metaphysical. So it's beyond. The body is physical, therefore we can see physical things, we can experience physical things, but metaphysical requires a different type of technology. So faith is required. And in Bhakti, faith starts off by, okay, there's something to this process of Bhakti Yoga. There's something to Krishna consciousness. There's something about the people that practice, There's something about these books we read. There's something to it. So we follow that faith by actions we take, like coming to the temple and hearing and chanting and hearing people that are more learned in the process, asking questions. We have some faith that, okay, this, there's something here. Otherwise, we wouldn't spend our time. Here. We'd spend it somewhere else. So this faith is matured in sadhu sangha. So sadhu sangha is the second stage, and sadhu sangha is there associating with saints or devotees, associating with bhakti yoga practitioners, basically, especially the serious ones and the very advanced ones. So when one has that sangha or that association or that group or team, you could say, then one's faith becomes stronger, because then you see people that are actually following the process and they're actually developing these qualities, they're developing these stages. They may have qualities that you want to have, like they're very peaceful, or they're very knowledgeable, or intelligent, or very nice, whatever. The sadhus or the saintly persons, they have so many qualities that are attractive to a sane person, actually, because if you're attracted to people that are exploitative, greedy, angry, lusty, then you're not going to be interested in, the sadhu sangha. You're going to be interested in the people at the bar, or, leaders in those fields. So by that association, then basically you gain some faith that there's something here. It develops. So then you actually start to chant. You start to hear about Krishna. You start to consider more deeply that Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead. You start to experience more of Krishna consciousness personally, just by having this association. Because like when you come to the temple, people that are at least living in the temple, they are supposed to be great examples of spiritual persons. That's what they're dedicating their life to. So if there's a community which is actually spiritually growing, and the people are transforming themselves through bhakti yoga, then when you come to the temple, the atmosphere is very surreal. It's very peaceful. It's very, you think differently. The mind starts to think more of spiritual topics. You start to see things a little differently. And then with all the practices going on, you join in too, and then you get some nice experiences. with that association. So that's what the temples are supposed to be. They're like spiritual embassies, they're called. So in this sadhu sangha, the next, let's see here, we got 5 types of misery. Bhakti destroys all misery. So kleshagni, bhakti destroys all misery. And we have here 5 types of misery. Ignorance, it's kind of hard to see. Ignorance, false ego, attachment, hatred, absorption, and worldly objects. These all are sources of misery. And 4 types of sin: fructified sin, unfructified sin, seeds of sin, the desire seed of sin. So when we say sin, it means things that are against the laws of Krishna or laws of nature as well. Things that are harmful for your actual self, your actual soul, and things that lower you in consciousness and bind you more to the material world. So over here, Shubhdada, bhakti bestows all auspiciousness. So these are qualities that the sadhus have. They're kind, merciful, forgiving, truthful, simple. They see with equality. You know, I've heard people come to the temple and they say that like they just feel like they're not being judged. You know, it's like a very non-judgmental atmosphere. Because spiritual persons, they see everybody as equal. They see the essence of the person, not just the externals, you know, the race or the color of the skin or the the cultural difference. Like, you know, one might be from California, one might be from New York, one might be from Florida. There's a different cultural differences within that. Or one might be from India or America. You know, there's some cultural differences, but one sees beyond that, because one spiritual person sees beyond that and just sees the self or the soul, who is part and parcel of Krishna. Patience, gravity, honoring others, not expecting, respect all good fortune. So these are some of the characteristics of Bhakti Yoga. So Bhajana Kriya, this is the 3rd stage of Bhakti, which is the practice of devotional service, and this is characterized as accepting a guru and practicing, applying the teachings of a guru, which is essential in spiritual life. It's essential in any field that you want to do good at, is having some teacher or expert, learning from the experts. So it's like that. We learn from the guru, who's expert in the spiritual science, and then we apply their instruction and teaching and guidance. And that is the 3rd stage of Bhakti Yoga. So here we see some characteristics of it. We have some initial enthusiasm, some thick and thin practice. So it's, you know, the practice is still, you know, you're still in the beginning, basically. Osculating resolve, I don't exactly know what that means. Struggling with sense enjoyment, because we're coming out of the material world. Now we're entering spiritual enjoyment, which we're giving up. We're restricting sense enjoyment, material sense enjoyment, but we're actually engaging in spiritual sense enjoyment, which is just utilizing our senses that we have, the body, in the service of Krishna. Inability to uphold vows. So, you know, these are some of the pitfalls. Enjoying the mundane benefits of bhakti. So some people come to Bhakti Yoga. In the beginning, they feel some relief from the fire of material existence, you know, the distresses of this world. Then you feel some relief, and then if you just stay on that platform of freedom from anxiety, eventually you will go back to trying to enjoy the material world, because you haven't gone deeper into it. You stayed on this platform like, oh, I'm feeling peaceful now because I've been chanting, because I've been reading. That's very nice. And then if you just stay there, if you don't go further, then eventually you'll go back to your conditioned state, which is to try to enjoy sense gratification. Then you'll suffer some more there, get some happiness, get some distress, and then hopefully you'll come back to bhakti in this life. So it happens. So as we perform devotional service, gradually rise to the 4th stage of bhakti, which is anartha nivritti. Now this is this is like the most difficult. So we're like almost halfway, right? 4 out of 9 stages. So anartha nivritti is the stage where it's the main one. After this, you get over some big obstacle, but clearing all the unwanted things in our heart, all the darkness or all the nescience, all the ignorance in the heart. That is what all the unfavorable desires. This is what anartha nivritti is. It's cleansing all that. Chaita Darpana Marjanam. So by chanting Hare Krishna, we cleanse the consciousness. And all these things, like, we'll go through them, but lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, all of those vices that we experience in our consciousness, this stage is a stage of removing them. So you can imagine, like, it's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy stage. You're shedding light in dark places, and when you do that, you see some things that were hiding, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that was there. But we know it's there, but we tend to like just keep the light off. I don't know, shut off the light, But in anartha nivritti, you're moving, you're shedding light, and you're spotlighting, you're going, you're using a microscopic lens, you're zooming in to the darkness in our heart, and then we're shedding light into it. And it becomes very, very subtle. It's a stage where there's many pitfalls, but eventually we have to go through this. If we want to attain Krishna consciousness, if we want to attain real love or to be peaceful, we have to get rid of all of our anarthas, which anartha means unwanted things. So it's a difficult stage, but one can move through it, through this process. It's quite a science how to do it, though. So obstacles born of past sinful acts, ignorance, false ego, attachment, hatred, absorption, and worldly objects. Obstacles born of past pious acts, desire for liberation, desire for heaven, desire for material enjoyment. These are all pitfalls, things you have to give up in this stage. Obstacles born of imperfectly performed bhakti, worldly gain, worship, adoration. Obstacles born of past offenses, the 10 offenses to the holy name. So these are some pretty important things to think about, to reflect on how we're being influenced by these, and then figure out how to actually go beyond them. So what time is it here? 5:07? Okay. We're losing daylight. I'll just briefly, because up to, for us, it's like, if we just focus on these 4, we can be pretty good for decades, My phone died. So we can be good, and that's the gradual process of Krishna consciousness, is that, these 4 stages are the main 4. Once you get past the unwanted things, then spiritual life becomes more easy, more enjoyable. I wouldn't say more easy, but there's a lot less internal obstacles to deal with. So, let me turn off this. Okay, so now so we have the 5th stage. I'll go through them briefly. It's nishta, or steadiness in spiritual life, and then the next one is the 6th stage. I always get the 6th and 7th mixed up, but I think it's attached. I think it's ruchi, or taste for. When you chant Hare Krishna, then you get to experience like ecstatic bliss that's coming from the spiritual platform. That's kind of the taste. When you hear about Krishna, you hear his pastimes, you experience like, great happiness, like that. So like the most, and we may get, so the thing about the stages is that we're kind of like, it's been explained to me by a senior devotee is that, even if you're in stage 1, you still are there is some anartha nivritti happening, some cleansing of the heart. It's happening. So it's like it's more simultaneous, but predominantly one is in one particular stage predominantly. So the next stage is so you have taste, and then you have attachment for Krishna, extreme attachment where you only want to do spiritual activity, you only want to hear spiritual subject matters, and then so that's 5, 6. That was 7. So 8. Then you have bhava, which is devotional, loving sentiments towards Krishna, and then you have prema, which is the goal, which is pure, unconditional love for the Supreme Being, Krishna, and pure love for others. So if you think you have pure love, then you have to look at this diagram and see, did I go through all of this? Did I remove all these unwanted things in my heart? For everybody, it's no. Mostly everybody in this material world. But there are some who have, who have at least attained high levels in these stages, and we can hear from them and see, how they did it. How'd you move through that anartha nivritti? How'd you move through cleansing all of the unwanted things in your heart? So it's a little bit of the background of Bhakti Yoga, the different stages, some things to look out for. It just kind of like opens your eyes to what is actually there in devotional service, what is actually there in Bhakti Yoga, and the stages, and where you're going, and what's the goal actually of this practice, and what's the goal of Krishna consciousness is to attain that pure love. How do I get there? Okay, we have these stages to go through, we have the practices, and these are all helping us move through these. It's simply a matter of time. We might think like, oh, these seem like way too high for me. I'm on stage 1, but that's okay. Actually, life will still be pleasing by practicing Krishna consciousness. Life will be good. But yeah, we do have a journey. And what factors there is previous life. So one may have, in this same chapter, Krishna explains that there's yogis or people that have performed yoga practice in their previous life, so now they're picking back up when they come to Bhakti Yoga. All that progress they've made, it's there with them, So when they practice Bhakti Yoga, they may already be on stage 4 from a previous life, or they may already be, like that, having that advancement, and being that advanced. So that progress is there. Okay, are there any questions about these points? Yes, Dr. Fred? Yeah, you can use this mic.
Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you for bringing this diagram to the attention of this individual, because this is rather enlightening. And I guess my question, I'm going to try and be direct and not waste time. It comes to this in Bhajana Kriya, practice of devotional service. Number 3, Vyuta Vikalpa, oscillating resolve. Oscillating means wavering. So this wavering resolve, I'm basically right here. But since this is a plant, like the seed, or it's shown as a plant, like plants don't go up and then they don't go down, so I'm wondering, I guess I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I feel like I am attracted to Krishna, especially when we do bhajan. I feel like sometimes I'm not really thinking when I'm in bhajan. I'm thinking of or I'm not thinking like of chanting the Maha Mantra, I'm just listening. And that seems to be the object of, or attachment to Sri Krishna, the object of bhajan, because the Maha Mantra takes away like my thought process. But then it's like something, where is this word? This incompetence. I'm very like incompetent, and like certain external factors can take me immediately away from thinking about Krishna. So I'm wondering like I guess I'm wondering if I'm just at sadhu sangha, or, and I don't know if we can answer this, but I'm confused about where I'm at, even though it is scientific and this diagram is exceptional. I don't actually know where I'm sitting.
Generally, if one is practicing devotional service, but they haven't accepted a spiritual master, they're below that. Yeah.
So am I Shraddha? So like Shraddha?
Well, you're in association.
Oh, okay. So sadhu sangha.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, for me to tell you where you are, I don't know if that's really possible for me to have that qualification, but we can kind of see we're predominantly in one. You know, faith is there within the whole plant, but faith develops to the utmost level when you get to the highest level. So that faith blossoms into this flower, this pure love of Krishna. But in sadhu sangha, which you're in, it's like you're taking association of bhakti practitioners, Krishna conscious devotees. You're taking it seriously. You're inquiring. You're learning. You're getting guided in certain ways how to practice devotional service. You're hearing the knowledge. You're imitating, in a sense, like you're following, like that. Okay, so now we're going to have arti, which is a form of deity worship, which is one of the processes of bhakti yoga. And we're singing a Bengali song. So Gio would pass out some songbooks to those that don't have we don't have any songbooks in this temple room? Okay. Well, there won't be a songbook, but we'll eventually chant Hare Krishna after a few minutes, after we finish this bhajan. So we'll rise and go to the front. We'll request the men on the left and the ladies on the right. And then after that, we'll have a very wonderful dinner. So please stay tuned. Hare Krishna. Wonderful feast, special feast tonight.
Nikate aveta shrini vasa chatradhara Chan Ratna Singhasane Arati Korim Brahma Adide Devagani Narahari Adi Kori Chamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshadigaya Shankar Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasala Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Ujvala Kala Deshe Banamala Kore Jalamala Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Pakati Vinoda Deke Kurara Sampada Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Navadvip Dham ki Mathura Dham ki Jagannath Puri Dham ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulsi Devi ki Yamuna Mai ki Ganga Mai ki Samaveta Bhaktavrinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad Daine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatanka Nakalaye. Ito Nisingha Parato Nisingho. Yato Yato Yamitato Nisingha. Mahir Nisingho, Hridaya Nisingho. Nisinghamadim Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamala Varinakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hari Jaya Jagadisha Hari Jaya Jagadisha Hari. Lord Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai.
Go Brahmanande Adi Adi Mo. Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. We don't have a sponsor tonight. If you would like to sponsor the feast, it's a very special feast tonight. You can approach me and we can accept your sponsorship. Any amount you can give is very great, but the full thing is 251. And so as we know, next week is Christmas holiday on Sunday. We will have a festival on that day, same time, same place. It's going to be very cold, but hopefully you can make it. So stay warm. I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday are like almost record-breaking freezing temperatures. So please stay warm in your houses. And pray for us that we'll be warm here, serving Krishna. I'm leaving on Tuesday for some time, visiting California. So I'll be back sometime in January, first week or second week. So I'll miss you all. And I look forward to seeing you all when I come back. So that's what we got for tonight. And if you'd like to sponsor next week on Christmas, if you're feeling the Christmas spirit, you can also sponsor that too tonight. You can forward next week. Okay, so we'll line up at the prasadam table, and there's seating in the back and seating on the floor as well out here. So thank you very much for coming. Hare Krishna.